We're back, Washington, D.C., the nation's capital behind me. We're going to continue to look ahead to President Trump's address to Congress coming up tonight, 9 p.m. For now, the president plans to celebrate the changes he's made over the past 6 weeks. They are some big ones indeed. New tariffs, chopping the federal workforce, a push to end the war in Ukraine. And on top of all that, he will lay out upcoming priorities as though enough hasn't happened already. With us to try to understand at least a piece of it is Senator Elizabeth Warren, a Democrat from Massachusetts and one of the president's principal critics, I would say. Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for being here. It is hard to know what to grab onto because so much has happened in these 6 weeks. But let's talk about the tariffs because they just came on board overnight.
Sure.
The era of free trade with Canada and Mexico is in the past.
Yep.
What's in the future?
So, look, I think that tariffs can sometimes be a very valuable tool. You're trying to protect a little industry that's starting to grow in the United States. You need to onshore a supply chain. We need to get, for example, more of our pharmaceutical production done here at home. It's a danger having it done somewhere else. But simply saying you are a country and we're going to put a tariff in place for everything you've done for Canada, I got to tell you, putting a tariff on maple syrup doesn't help us here at home. All it does is drive up prices for, everybody who wants to eat pancakes.
The president's case, as you well know, and I love pancakes, do it Saturday and Sunday. I'm a twofer.
Whoa.
Yes, all I can handle. Look, the president's case is look, we're going to bring manufacturing back to America, and we're going to force our neighbors to help us with fentanyl interdiction and illegal immigration.
Look, Donald Trump can say whatever he wants to say. He tries to throw up a sandstorm of arguments and confusion. But, for example, with Canada, really, we don't have those kinds of problems with Canada. They've done everything they can. They're a cooperative neighbor here. And across-the-board tariffs like this, just so that Donald Trump can beat his chest about how tough he is with a neighbor, it's not helping us. What it's doing is it's driving up costs. And this is the part we have to remember on the frame. Remember what Donald Trump said when he ran for office. He said he would lower prices for American families on day one. Those were his words. Ran on it, said in his first interview after he was elected, he thinks he was elected because of that. And now here we are 6 weeks in. And all he is doing is driving costs up for families, not bringing them down.
It'll be interesting to see whether he talks about prices tonight.
Yeah.
But let's talk about foreign policy, which I think will come up. For 80 years, the American policy when it comes to the world is bigger countries do not get to take things from smaller countries by force. And yet, as we approach a possible peace process in Ukraine, it seems like Russia will walk away with land.
This is deeply worrisome, this shift that Donald Trump has put in place toward Russia, toward the aggressor, toward the country that invaded Ukraine. Here are the Ukrainians fighting honorably to defend democracy. I've been there. I've been to Ukraine. I've met many times with President Zelensky. These are people who are just trying to defend themselves against an aggressor. And the United States, for the first time since World War II, is aligning itself with the aggressor. That undermines not just Ukraine, not just Western Europe, but it undermines the United States and the values we have advocated for generations.
So let's talk about how concerned Americans should be. The changes in the last 6 weeks, the action, the efforts, the scale and the sweep goes back to FDR as a point of comparison, and he was facing an emergency. People wonder, what's the emergency here, and is one being created by what's being done? What do you say to Americans who are concerned, who are afraid, who are horrified by what's happening?
So I say I understand the fear. As I say, it's a sandstorm of new things going on. But here's the part I stay focused on. What really is the driving force? What's really happening here? And the answer is what Congress is working on right now with the President of the United States is a big revision of our economy, and it's a tax bill. That would be tax cuts for millionaires and billionaires, about $4.6 trillion in tax cuts, paid for on the backs of everyone else. So if you have an elderly relative who's in a nursing home, chances are good that's help. There's money coming into that through Medicaid. You know, a little kid down the street who has a severe disability, needs an aid to be able to go to public school. That's Medicaid that's helping pay for it. The places to be worried are what's happening in the central part of this economy. Right now, the Trump vision is billionaires win, families lose.
Well, Senator, we are running out of time here, but I have to ask you, there's people that are horrified. A lot of people are also exhilarated by what the president's doing. They want to see this government hose down, get the mud off, cut the bureaucracy. You don't think that's happening?
You know, look, I sent a letter to Elon Musk outlining $2 trillion in cuts that we could make. For example, to get rid of Medicare Advantage fraud or procurement fraud in the Department of Defense. There's waste that we could cut. There's no doubt about it. But coming in and firing federal workers who make it safe to fly, firing federal workers who maintain the security of nuclear materials, firing federal workers who do cancer research and Alzheimer's research, that does not make us a stronger country or a stronger government.
Senator Elizabeth Warren, thank you very much.
You bet.
Appreciate
Good to
your
see
conversation here.